Hey, what's going on, YouTube? I literally just got changed and walked out to my car to film this video. I thought about filming it inside and then I was like, not today. Maybe later in the day if I feel some type of way, but yeah, I'm here right now. Pardon me. This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only, so let's talk about last night. Last night, went to the Astrals. Well, really, it was earlier in the AM. I first got up at around, I looked at the clock and it was 7:17. And prior to getting up right then, I was in the Astrals and people were trying to do something to my astral body. I couldn't see who it was. It was complete darkness. I do suspect and believe, it was just the people that I'm living in this house with, particularly the guests that came to stay last night who were still here. But I was fighting back, and I didn't construct energy, blasts and stuff from my mind, but I ended up just using my arms, and I was putting up a fight. And mentally, I guess it was enough for that bit of my consciousness to come back to my body. But I then started feeling, after looking at the clock, right, 7:17, this energy pulling me back into the astrals. I started to feel extremely tired out of nowhere. Like, I know I just got up, but I did not feel that tiredness once I returned to my body. So I was just like, oh no, because I have felt that before, where beings from another dimension are calling you back when you feel that tiredness all in your head, all in this area, which again, this is where bird eye, third eye is. So I don't exactly know what they're doing on the other side for it to affect me here, but I felt extremely tired. So I'm now back in the astrals and I'm in my bed. Same thing. I'm in my bed in the astrals, and it's so seamless. It's become more and more seamless, this transition of me being in the same layout and in the same position that my physical body was in and fell asleep in, to then getting up and rising in the astrals, and everything looks damn near the same in that space. So again, I'm putting up a fight, and because I feel people trying to mess with my astral body, and I then end up really putting up a fight and managing to get out of the bed. And it was one of these experiences where, when I was putting up a fight this time, my vision, my focus, instead of being able to look to the left, look to the right, look around my environment, my focus and vision was set on and locked on one place. And I'm fighting like hell on the inside to see more of my surroundings, but for whatever the reason, it was locked. And I couldn't change that, so I'm just struggling to gain the power to move my body. And it was just completely and utterly locked. So something was being done and preventing me from being able to just move about like this with ease. And I was focused on the side of the bed that has the window facing it. But I then, put up a fight like hell, and I managed getting out of the bed, and I start slapping my face because it's like, okay, what was going on? It felt as though I was experiencing sleep paralysis, where my mind is awake and the body is asleep, but the vision right in front of me as well was completely locked. Like, I couldn't even left, right, with my eyes. And I felt other people like messing with my astral body, that part of my consciousness. But then I got up, and I heard the people in the other room that were staying here the other night get up and they start walking out their door. And then I was looking out the window and then I looked back. And again, everything looks damn near the exact same as it looks right here. But there are small differences that they have to key you in on, that this is not this realm. This isn't this part of the illusion, that's the astrals. But it's still within the prison of this matrix, because they're able to do all this stuff. So I ended up seeing that they were leaving and my door was closed, and then all of a sudden my door started opening, but these two were leaving and one of them had on a DoorDash bag, and that's the bag I can't say always, but more often than not use whenever I go to do yoga, meditation, sometimes just sit at the park. But one of them had it, right? And that's just a little key right there, they wouldn't be using it here in this physical. But then they ended up coming in the room, and I just thought it was interesting that 1 second the door's closed, and then like when they're walking, the door starts opening in the astrals, and then they just came into the room. And another subtle change was here there are no big vents on the walls, and in the astrals last night there were 2 dark grayish black vents by the windows. And the woman then started saying, you gotta check these vents, and because we've had flooding, and you're gonna need to call someone. And then I was putting up, if I basically being like, well, is it flooding now? No. So I don't need to call somebody. Is this still an issue, or is this a hypothetical, basically, scenario that you just want me to waste my time and energy because you don't want to do the job? And I didn't phrase it in that fullness in that specific way, but that was, the home of the thought that I retorted back at her. And then the man ended up saying, and getting involved because I kept pressing. I wasn't backing down. I wasn't letting up. So then she, took a second, and then he came in into the conversation, as well as like physically moving his body closer to mine, being like, oh, well, do you, bottom line, like, do you want to live here? Or do you have another place to stay? Do you need to like be here out of survival? And that definitely got to my astral body, but I felt myself observe that thought, if that makes sense, and instead of just retorting something back like, y'all don't want me here, or if that's what it comes to, this is the matrix, this is all an illusion, me saying something along those lines or something different, but I didn't. But I did notice myself choose not to. So I responded something, or I just know, I felt some type of way, and then I felt irritated, and then I noticed, his facial expression changed, like, finally, we got him to lower his vibration. And, then my left brain, it's like I felt something move from that energy after he said that, just then started to be right here in the left side of my brain. And then they walk out of the room, and I look and I see outside the window, and there's, where the neighbors are, literally, that I'm looking at right now, they're Caucasian. But in the astrals that night, there was someone who was Asian, and somebody else who was Caucasian, closer to my age, and a fallen Anunnaki. This black woman that I knew while at the University of Northern Colorado, either when I was a junior or a senior and she was a freshman. I would have to check with my best friend who's in LA, the time frame exactly. But point is, she was in the musical theater program. The Asian man starts talking to me, and it's like he was trying to be empathetic, but was like, bottom line, this is the situation, and you need to do this if you want to live here. And I'm just like, what the fuck? So I guess that initial occurrence, for me to lower my vibration, and like, I'm like, all this energy to be created right here to be siphoned wasn't enough. So then he started making it grow a little more, and then I'm now feeling at a lower energy, upset, frustrated, honestly alone in the situation. Like, no one sees my point of view, and I just feel everyone is gaining up on me. And then the black woman that I knew, student while at the University of Northern Colorado, ended up, comforting me. And she then started leading me. And we went out of the house. But here's the thing, y'all. We didn't go outside of the door of the room that I'm staying in to then go down the stairs and leave through the front door or the back door. We ended up just walking. Like, we went through essentially the wall deconstructed. And now I'm being walked to this other location of what would be a school or a courtyard in a school. But on the walk there, I start talking to her, and I'm like, she was comforting me, saying some words, and I was saying some words, and then I basically was like, you really need to watch The Matrix, because it's all about us, and we're the ones that are being targeted, and stuff. So it's like my subconscious was aware enough to tell that truth to somebody that looked like me, and I had that awareness, but not in the moment that this person is not in my best interest. So then she leads me to this courtyard area, and I see this one student that I knew when I was at the International School of Kenya, who passed away during a horrific incident. And she was like, hey, and I was like, hey. And then I saw other students, though, who are still alive and are here in the physical. But she was the only one. Her and a couple others were the very few that were like, greeted me when I like greeted them as well. And then I saw one of my PE teachers that I had, who I've seen in the astrals before. And the previous time that I remember seeing them, I got off a train, this monorail train, where two, I'm going to say, fallen Anunnaki who I've seen at the bars here were leading me to him there. And he welcomed me with a huge hug, and was smiling about it. Whereas this time, just looking at the change in his being, his face was sagging a little more, and he just looked older. But, we're not supposed to age. We're not supposed to rust out, right? That's because of all the oxygen put into the air. For the beings that are on their journey of remembering who they are, that is why we rust out. We're meant to be breathing hydrogen. So this is definitely telling me something about how the energy right now is affecting those beings who are doing the oppressing, bottom line. And he was, just resting in this plastic chair. And he had on a hat, but I could still see his face, and I saw him, and I was like, hey. And he seemed happy, again, that I was there, but it wasn't that full-on embrace that it was just a couple of months ago, I want to say, when I saw him in the astrals before. But I didn't feel threatened by him, I felt pleased to see him versus this other PE teacher that I've seen before from that same school. And I'm then seeing more students all carbonated beings who I went to that school with, and I'm just making eye contact, and some are, looking at me, looking away, being cold, and others are just taking me in and then going back to the teacher. And then at some point, the same thing happens that was happening to my body during the beginning of this experience, which is I sat down on one of the concrete like levelings, and I just sat down, and my focus, all of a sudden I like felt something, and again, like in the left side of my brain, I just felt this energy, and I couldn't, my focus was just in front of me like the concrete. It's like I experienced sleep paralysis again, where my mind is awake, I'm aware of where I am, in the sense like I'm in this courtyard and I'm around all these people, but I couldn't move my body, and I couldn't like I couldn't even blink. My vision and my focus, it was just on. It's like in a segment of a film or a movie, and all of the images, are going by, and you just pause the film, and that image is just right there in its fullness. And that's what was happening to me. And then I eventually, come back to my body. I fall into darkness first, and then I'm back in my body. And I felt a little more tired. I didn't feel as rejuvenated and full of energy as I did at 7:17 when I came back to my body. But I then felt the impulse, curiosity, after a couple of minutes, to look at the clock. And it said 8:02. This is not a coincidence, just because. And when I look at the clock now, I do it with like my hand over the numbers so I can like slide 8, 0, 2. And that's just because in the past, when I've seen, the numbers with the 3, the 6, or the 9, usually, not even usually, but like I feel something in the left side of my brain. It's like a seal to lock in whatever was done. I'm not saying that's the exact thing that's going on and what happens, but there's definitely something with the time and with numbers. And it wasn't a coincidence that I felt in that moment an impulse and then acted on it to look at the time. It just so happened to be that it was right before 8:03. So, my energy was definitely siphoned, and stuff was done to my astral body. And what was meant to happen, I believe, right? Because this happened a few times. The people that I'm staying with, right, that were in the other room, tried doing this first at 7, before I got up at 7:17. And then when I got up, I felt and smelt this cake. It was like a cake being made, right? And it just smelled really good. So I knew people were up. And then all of a sudden, I fall back to my body, and I have this experience, and they couldn't siphon or get that thing to happen while I'm in the bed, and I fought back, right? And I got up and I got out. That then led to them saying some words, still isn't popping up, but then one of them ended up saying something that, now I'm feeling this pulsating feeling in the left side of my brain, like someone turns on some switch and it doesn't go off. And then it began growing once that Asian man started talking to me. And then I was led by this Anunnaki, this black woman that I've seen here in the States, to the group of carbonated, melanated, neuromelanated, black women and men who I went to school with at the International School of Kenya when I was there from 8th grade to senior year, seeing I can't say people, but one being who passed away in a horrific accident, totally alive and functioning, moving in the astrals, and those who are alive here to this day and in the physical. For my, what would be considered, like when I was there, age is just a spell, but my age group to younger, and the professor, to then that finally happening, this thing where something is being done to my consciousness and astral body, and I can't physically move it, and I essentially experience sleep paralysis. And I can't move. You know, I can't change my focus, my line of sight to the left, to the right, and something is definitely being done to my body and my consciousness. I feel that energy is being siphoned after it's put in a lower vibrational frequency. So that was the whole experience, you guys. I was outside in the sun for damn near 4 hours. And that was the experience, you know? And it happened, it's interesting, you know, just paying attention to time after 4 a.m. when all of this started, like the hour of 7 or whatever. And then when I got up, somebody is, either the cake was made and they were eating, or they were making a cake and there was hustle bustle. And I'm adding this because when I got up at 8:02 and then went to the bathroom and then came out right now to film this, the person right next to me acting like he's asleep, the people on the couch acting like they sleep. I don't believe that they actually went back to bed. But anyway, that's just to say, like, you know, something was done during that hour to help with this whole process of siphoning my energy to the beings who in this physical and in the astrals that they answer to, because those beings, the ones that I went to school with, and the people in that last experience are the ones that they answer to. So that being said, travel safely, you know, in the astrals, and I just wish everyone well. I'm going to end this video here and say, send peace, courage, protection, and divine cosmic love to every single nine-ether being, Anunnaki goddess, and Anunnaki god who's on their journey of remembering their divinity and remembering who they are. I will see y'all in the next one.